In a quiet Connecticut museum, behind thick glass and a stern warning, "Positively do not open," sat a simple Raggedy Ann doll. The room was heavy with silence, crowded with forbidden things, but all eyes were drawn to her. Annabelle, her painted smile and bright red yarn hair seemed out of place in the gloom. The warning wasn't for her, it was for us. The lock on her case was a promise, to keep something contained that should never be free. Visitors spoke of a coldness, a sense of being watched by something unseen. Annabelle was more than cloth and stuffing, she was a vessel for something that did not belong. Day after day, she waited behind glass in prayer, time standing still inside her box. Her story is a quiet one, evil, arriving not with a storm, but as a gift, with a friendly face. Sometimes, the most dangerous things are the ones we invite in, unaware of the darkness that follows. The world outside moved on, but inside her box, Annabelle waited. The story of how she came to be there is a slow tale of small, strange events that grew monstrous. Evil doesn't always shout. Sometimes, it just waits for you to open the door. And Annabelle was waiting. In 1970, Donna, a nursing student, received a Raggedy Ann doll from her mother, a comforting piece of childhood for her new apartment. At first, the doll was just a cheerful decoration, but soon, Donna and her roommate Angie noticed odd things. The doll's position would change, sometimes moving from room to room. They tried to explain it away, but the movements became impossible to ignore. One day, the doll was found by the front door, as if waiting for them. The doors were locked. No one else was there. Fear crept in. The doll's button eyes seemed to follow them. They began testing it, placing the doll in specific spots before leaving. Every time, it moved. The apartment's mood shifted from curiosity to dread. The doll was behaving as if it were alive. What began as a loving gift became a source of unease. The presence in their home was no longer comforting. It was unsettling, silent, and always watching. The simple gift had brought something else with it. The activity escalated. Now, Donna and Angie found childlike notes on parchment paper they didn't own. The messages were simple. Help us. Help Lou. Lou, their friend, had always felt uneasy about the doll, warning Donna to get rid of it. The notes appeared out of nowhere, written in a shaky, childish hand. Desperate for answers, Donna and Angie called a medium. During a seance, the medium claimed to contact the spirit of Annabelle Higgins, a lonely 7-year-old girl who had died on the property. The story touched Donna and Angie, both nurses in training, who wanted to help. The medium said Annabelle just wanted to stay and be loved. Moved by compassion, Donna gave the spirit permission to inhabit the doll. It was a decision made with kindness and a terrible mistake. They had opened a door, not knowing what they'd truly invited in. The doll's presence grew stronger, the atmosphere heavier. The story of a lost child was comforting, but the truth was far darker. The real danger had only just begun, and the doll was no longer just a doll. Lou never trusted the doll. He warned Donna and Angie, but they dismissed his fears. Soon, Lou became the entity's target. One night, he woke paralyzed, the doll at his feet, gliding up his body, pressing on his chest. He blacked out, overwhelmed by a sense of evil. Later, Lou and Angie heard noises from Donna's room. Investigating, Lou found Annabelle on the floor, then felt burning pain on his chest. He discovered bleeding claw marks which healed unnaturally fast. There was no logical explanation. The attacks were escalating, and Lou's skepticism turned to terror. The entity was not a child's spirit, it was something inhuman. Donna and Angie could no longer deny the truth. The doll's behavior was malicious, its intent clear. Lou's warnings had been right all along. The presence in the apartment was growing stronger, feeding on their fear. The attacks were a message. This was no lost child, it was a predator, and Lou was its prey. The time for disbelief was over. They needed help. Fast. The real haunting had begun. After Lou's attack, Donna sought help from a priest, who connected her with Ed and Lorraine Warren. The Warrens, renowned paranormal investigators, quickly sensed the truth. Lorraine felt no human spirit, only a dark, inhuman presence. Ed explained, "Spirits of the dead don't possess objects, they possess people." The entity was demonic, using the doll as a conduit to interact with the world. The story of Annabelle Higgins was a lie, a trick to gain sympathy and permission to stay. By inviting the spirit, Donna had unknowingly opened the door to something far worse. The escalating activity and Lou's attack were classic signs of demonic infestation. The entity's goal was never the doll, it wanted a human host. Lou's opposition made him the primary target. The Warrens warned the danger was real and growing. The doll was a puppet, the spirit, the puppeteer. The apartment was no longer safe. Action had to be taken, immediately. The Warrens removed the doll, knowing it couldn't simply be discarded. Ed performed a blessing to protect Donna and Angie. On the drive home, the car malfunctioned, brakes failed, engine stalled, steering locked. Each time, Ed sprinkled holy water on the doll, and the car would briefly return to normal. The entity fought them every mile, the atmosphere thick with hostility. Finally, they reached home. At first, Ed placed the doll in his office, but it continued to move, and even levitate. Realizing containment was needed, Ed built a special glass and wood case, blessed and locked. The doll was sealed away, but the threat remained. The Warrens understood, the entity was only contained, not destroyed. Annabelle became the centerpiece of their occult museum, a silent warning to all who saw her. The case was a barrier, but not a cure. The evil was patient, waiting behind glass. The story was far from over. Even locked away, Annabelle remained dangerous. Some visitors ignored the warnings. A skeptical priest mocked the doll, then crashed his car hours later. He survived, but never doubted again. Another visitor taunted Annabelle, banging on the glass. Ed had him removed, warning of the consequences. The young man laughed it off, but died in a motorcycle crash on his way home. His girlfriend survived, badly injured, recalling the crash as sudden and inexplicable. Disbelief offered no protection. The entity attached to Annabelle cared only for chaos and harm. The doll's history grew darker with each act of arrogance. The lesson was clear: respect the boundaries, or pay the price. Annabelle's case was not just a display, it was a warning. The stories were not just legend, they were cautionary tales. The danger was real, and it waited for the next skeptic. Some lessons are learned too late. For years, Annabelle sat in her glass box, the centerpiece of the Warrens' occult museum. After Ed and Lorraine passed, the museum closed. Its collection moved to storage. Responsibility fell to their son-in-law, Tony Spera, who continued regular blessings to keep the entity dormant. The museum's silence is unsettling. Annabelle is no longer on display, but she still exists, locked away. The story didn't end. It simply moved behind a new door. The doll waits in the dark, a patient prisoner. The silence leaves us wondering, does she still move? Does the air still grow cold? The entity's goal was always to feed on fear. Now, alone, what does it do? Annabelle's story is a warning about inviting the unknown into our lives. Evil can be quiet, patient, and manipulative. The doll is just cloth and stuffing, but what clings to it is real. And it is still out there, waiting. Annabelle's story is more than a ghost tale. It's a lesson in patient evil. It began with a simple gift, not a violent haunting. The entity tested its victims, using kindness as a key. The horror was in the manipulation. It posed as a lost child, appealing to compassion. Permission was all it needed. The attacks, the notes, the car ride, all were steps in a calculated infestation. The doll was never the goal, the human soul was. Evil didn't break down the door, it waited for it to be opened. Now, Annabelle sits in her box, a fixture of American folklore. The entity is not gone, only contained. The story warns us. Some doors should remain closed. Curiosity can be dangerous. The evil attached to Annabelle was not defeated, just imprisoned. And it waits, silent and patient, a reminder that the most terrifying monsters are the ones that wait.